Sweet Symphony by Oliver Hale. The aroma of vanilla and cinnamon wafted through the air as Olivia Taylor carefully piped delicate rosettes onto her signature lavender and honey cake. The kitchen of sugar and spice, her charming bakery nestled in the heart of Willowbrook, was her sanctuary, a place where she could let her creativity flourish and her worries melt away like butter in a warm pan. At 32, Olivia had poured her heart and soul into building her business from the ground up. Sugar and Spice had become a beloved fixture in the community, known for its innovative flavors and Olivia's warm, welcoming smile. But lately, that smile had been strained, and worry lines had started to crease her usually smooth forehead. The cause of her concern stood just across the street. A sleek, modern storefront with a sign that read Decadent Delights. The new bakery had opened its doors just 2 months ago, and already it was drawing crowds with its flashy displays and social media presence. As Olivia put the finishing touches on her cake, the bell above the door chimed. She looked up to see her best friend and part-time assistant, Mia, rush in, her curly hair windswept and her eyes wide with excitement. "Olivia, you're not going to believe this," Mia exclaimed, waving her phone. "Decadent Delights just announced they're entering the Willowbrook Bake-Off." Olivia's heart sank. The annual Willowbrook Bake-Off was the highlight of the town's summer festival, a prestigious competition that Sugar and Spice had won 3 years running. It was more than just a contest, it was a tradition, a source of pride, and frankly, a significant boost to business. "Let me guess," Olivia sighed, "they're gunning for the title." Mia nodded, her expression a mix of concern and determination. Their Instagram post says, and I quote, "Time to shake things up in Willowbrook. This year, there's going to be a new champion in town." Olivia felt a flare of indignation. Who did these newcomers think they were, swaggering into town and acting like they owned the place? She squared her shoulders, a competitive fire igniting in her chest. "Well," she said, a hint of steel in her voice, "they're welcome to try." Over the next few weeks, Olivia threw herself into preparation for the bake-off. She experimented with new flavor combinations, perfected her techniques, and spent long hours in the kitchen, often working well into the night. The competition had always pushed her to be better, but this year felt different, more personal somehow. One evening, as she was locking up the shop, Olivia noticed the lights were still on at Decadent Delights. Curiosity got the better of her, and she found herself crossing the street before she could think better of it. Peering through the window, she saw a man about her age hunched over a workbench, piping what looked like intricate chocolate designs. His brow was furrowed in concentration, a smudge of cocoa powder on his cheek. Despite herself, Olivia felt a twinge of admiration for his obvious dedication. Suddenly, the man looked up, catching her eye. Embarrassed at being caught snooping, Olivia quickly stepped back, but not before the man's face broke into a surprised smile. He waved, gesturing for her to come in. Olivia hesitated for a moment before pushing open the door. Up close, she could see that the man was quite handsome, with warm brown eyes and a strong jawline softened by his friendly expression. "I was wondering when you'd come by," he said, wiping his hands on his apron. "I'm Ethan Parker, owner of Decadent Delights, and you must be the famous Olivia Taylor." Olivia blinked, taken aback by his friendliness. "Famous might be stretching it," she replied, unable to keep a hint of defensiveness from her voice. "I'm just a local baker." Ethan's smile widened. "A local baker who's won the Willowbrook Bake-Off 3 years in a row. That's no small feat." Olivia felt her cheeks warm at the compliment. "Thank you," she said, then added with a touch of competitiveness, "I intend to make it 4 this year." Ethan's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Well, you'll have some stiff competition. I hope you're ready for a challenge." As they bantered back and forth, Olivia found herself reluctantly enjoying their exchange. Ethan was charming and quick-witted, matching her competitive spirit with good-natured teasing. By the time she left, she was both unsettled and intrigued by this man who was supposed to be her rival. Over the following days, Olivia couldn't get Ethan out of her mind. She found herself glancing across the street more often, sometimes catching his eye through the window. They'd wave, sharing small smiles that sent an unexpected flutter through her chest. One afternoon, as Olivia was struggling with a particularly tricky sugar sculpture for the competition, the bell above her door chimed. She looked up to see Ethan standing there, holding a small box. "Peace offering?" he said, placing the box on the counter. "I thought you might need a break from all the baking." Curious, Olivia opened the box to find an assortment of beautifully crafted chocolates. She popped one into her mouth, unable to suppress a small moan of appreciation as the rich, complex flavors danced on her tongue. "These are amazing," she admitted, her earlier animosity melting away like the chocolate. Ethan beamed, clearly pleased by her reaction. "I'm glad you like them. Listen, I know we're competitors, but I was wondering if maybe you'd like to grab coffee sometime, talk shop, swap stories?" Olivia hesitated, torn between her competitive instincts and the undeniable attraction she felt towards Ethan. Finally, curiosity won out. "All right," she agreed. But no stealing trade secrets. Their coffee date turned into a delightful afternoon at Willowbrook's charming local cafe. As they sipped their coffees, Olivia found herself captivated by Ethan's passion for baking and his journey to opening decadent delights. She shared stories of her own culinary adventures, and before they knew it, hours had passed in animated conversation. As they strolled through Willowbrook's picturesque town square after coffee, Ethan surprised Olivia by taking her hand. The simple gesture sent a thrill through her, and she found herself leaning into him slightly as they walked. "You know," Ethan said softly, "I've been in Willowbrook for 2 months now, but I feel like I'm only just seeing its true beauty." Olivia looked up at him, her heart skipping a beat as their eyes met. "Oh? And what's changed?" Ethan's gaze softened. "I'm seeing it through your eyes now. Your love for this town. For what you do, it's infectious, Olivia." So before Olivia could respond, a loud crack of thunder split the air. Within seconds, rain began to pour down, drenching them both. Laughing, they ran for cover, ducking under the awning of a nearby shop. Olivia pushed her wet hair out of her face, giggling at the absurdity of the situation. Ethan watched her, a tender smile playing on his lips. Then, in a move that took her breath away, he cupped her face gently and kissed her. The kiss was sweet and tentative at first, but quickly deepened as Olivia responded. The world around them faded away, the patter of rain creating a cozy cocoon around their embrace. When they finally pulled apart, both were slightly breathless. "I've been wanting to do that since the moment I saw you peeking through my window," Ethan admitted, his forehead resting against hers. Olivia's heart soared, but a nagging doubt crept in. "Ethan, what are we doing? We're supposed to be rivals." Ethan tucked a strand of wet hair behind her ear. "Maybe we can be more than that. Rivals, friends, maybe something more." As the rain continued to fall around them, Olivia found herself nodding, a smile spreading across her face. "I'd like that," she whispered, before pulling him in for another kiss. In the weeks that followed, Olivia and Ethan's relationship blossomed like a perfectly risen souffle. They spent their days working in their respective bakeries, but their evenings were filled with laughter, shared meals, and stolen kisses. One particularly memorable date found them in Ethan's kitchen, attempting to teach each other their signature recipes. What started as a serious baking lesson quickly devolved into a playful flour fight, leaving them both covered in white powder and giggling like children. As Ethan pulled Olivia close, leaving floury handprints on her waist, she marveled at how natural it felt to be in his arms. "You know," she said, tracing a line of flour on his cheek, "if someone had told me a month ago that I'd be falling for my biggest competitor, I would have laughed in their face." Ethan's eyes softened, and now, Olivia stood on her tiptoes, pressing a gentle kiss to his lips. Now I can't imagine it any other way. But as the bake-off drew nearer, Olivia found herself in a constant state of conflict. On one hand, her feelings for Ethan were growing stronger by the day. On the other, her competitive spirit and pride in her work pushed her to want to win the competition. Ethan seemed to sense her inner turmoil. One evening, as they strolled hand in hand through Willowbrook's charming riverside park, he turned to her with a serious expression. "Olivia," he said softly, "I want you to know that whatever happens at the bake-off, it doesn't change how I feel about you." Olivia's heart swelled, but a nagging doubt persisted. "But what if it changes how I feel about you?" she asked, voicing her fear. "What if one of us wins and the other can't handle it?" Ethan squeezed her hand, pulling her closer. "Then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think we're both stronger than that. Don't you?" He led her to a nearby bench, where they sat overlooking the gently flowing river. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, casting a warm glow over Olivia's face. "You know," Ethan continued, his voice low and sincere, "when I opened Decadent Delights, I thought my biggest challenge would be establishing myself in a new town. I never expected to find someone who would challenge me in every way, professionally and personally." Olivia leaned into him, a contented smile playing on her lips. "And I never expected my fiercest competitor to become the person I care about most." Ethan turned to face her, taking both her hands in his. "Olivia, these past few weeks have been the most exciting, frustrating, and wonderful of my life. Competing with you has made me a better baker, and knowing you has made me a better person. I don't want to be your rival anymore." Olivia's breath caught in her throat. "What do you want to be?" she asked softly. "Partners," Ethan replied, his eyes shining with hope and love. "In baking and in life. What do you say? Want to mix things up a little?" For a moment, Olivia thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea. They were competitors. It could complicate things. What would people say? But then she looked into Ethan's eyes and saw a future filled with love, laughter, and the sweet smell of success. "Yes," she said, her face breaking into a radiant smile. "Let's show this town what we can create together." As their lips met in a kiss that tasted of victory and promise, Olivia knew that this was just the beginning of their greatest adventure yet. They would face challenges, no doubt, but with their combined talents and the love they shared, she was certain they could whip up something truly spectacular. As the day of the bake-off arrived, the entire town buzzed with excitement. The competition was fierce, with bakers from all over the county presenting their most impressive creations. Olivia and Ethan worked at separate stations, each focused intensely on their own masterpieces. Olivia had decided on an ambitious three-tiered cake that showcased local, seasonal fruits in innovative ways. Each layer represented a different aspect of Willowbrook, the rolling hills, the sparkling river, and the vibrant town square. As she worked, she couldn't help but steal glances at Ethan, admiring the grace and skill with which he crafted his own creation, a stunning chocolate sculpture that seemed to defy gravity. As the judges made their rounds, tasting and evaluating each entry, the tension in the air was palpable. Olivia's stomach was in knots, not just from the pressure of the competition, but from the conflicting emotions swirling within her. She wanted to win, desperately, but a part of her also wanted Ethan to succeed. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the judges gathered to announce the winners. The crowd fell silent as the head judge stepped forward. In third place, he announced Sarah Miller with her delightful apple pie cheesecake fusion. Applause rang out as Sarah accepted her bronze medal, beaming with pride. In second place, the judge continued, Ethan Parker of Decadent Delights, with his extraordinary chocolate masterpiece. Olivia's heart raced as Ethan stepped forward to accept the silver medal. He caught her eye, giving her a wink and a thumbs up. She felt a surge of affection, tinged with a hint of guilt at the relief that flooded through her. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The winner of this year's Willowbrook Bake-Off is... Olivia held her breath, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. Olivia Taylor of Sugar and Spice, with her stunning celebration of Willowbrook in cake form. The crowd erupted in cheers as Olivia stood frozen in shock. She had done it, she had won her fourth consecutive title. As the gold medal was placed around her neck, she searched the crowd for Ethan, worried about how he might be taking the news. To her surprise and relief, she found him beaming at her, clapping enthusiastically. As soon as she stepped off the stage, he enveloped her in a warm hug. "Congratulations, Olivia," he whispered in her ear. "You deserved it. Your cake was absolutely incredible." Olivia pulled back, studying his face for any sign of resentment. "You're not upset?" Ethan shook his head, his eyes twinkling. "How could I be upset when the best baker won? Besides," he added with a grin, "there's always next year." In that moment, Olivia realized that she had won something far more valuable than a gold medal. She had found someone who could challenge her, inspire her, and support her, all at the same time. As the summer festival continued around them, Olivia and Ethan slipped away from the crowds. Finding a quiet spot by the river, the setting sun painted the sky in shades of pink and gold, reflecting off the water in a dazzling display. Ethan took Olivia's hands in his expression serious but filled with love. "Olivia, I've been thinking, we make a pretty great team, don't we?" Olivia nodded, her heart swelling with affection. "We do. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad you came to Willowbrook and shook things up." Ethan's smile widened. "Well, how about we shake things up even more? I have a proposition for you." Olivia raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh, what kind of proposition?" "A business proposition and a personal one," Ethan said, his voice soft but filled with excitement. "What if we combined our talents? Merge sugar and spice and decadent delights into something new, something that's uniquely us?" Olivia's eyes widened as she considered the idea. "You mean open a new bakery together?" Ethan nodded eagerly. "Exactly. We could create a place that combines your innovative flavors with my design skills, something that represents the best of both of us." As Olivia pondered the idea, she found herself growing more and more excited. The possibilities seemed endless. "We could call it Sweet Symphony," she suggested, the name coming to her in a flash of inspiration. "Sweet Symphony?" Ethan repeated, grinning. "I love it. It's perfect." Olivia squeezed his hands, her mind already whirling with ideas. "We could have a section for your amazing chocolates and another for my cakes. Oh, and we could offer baking classes, share our skills with the community." Olivia's excitement was infectious, and Ethan found himself nodding along enthusiastically. "That's brilliant, Olivia. We could even have a special area for experimental flavors, where we showcase our latest creations, and host tasting events," Olivia added, her eyes shining. "Imagine pairing your chocolates with local wines, or my fruit-infused pastries with specialty teas." As they continued to brainstorm, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the river. Ethan pulled Olivia close, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You know," he said softly, "There's one more thing I'd like to propose." Olivia looked up at him, her heart skipping a beat at the intensity in his eyes. "Oh?" Ethan took a deep breath, suddenly looking nervous. "Olivia, these past few months have been the most incredible of my life. You've challenged me, inspired me, and made me laugh harder than I ever have before. I came to Willowbrook looking for a fresh start. But I found so much more than that. I found you." Olivia felt tears in the corners of her eyes as Ethan continued. "I know it might seem fast, but when you know, you know. And I know that I want to spend the rest of my life creating sweet symphonies with you, in the kitchen and out." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Dropping to one knee, he opened it to reveal a delicate ring with a sparkling diamond. "Olivia Taylor, will you marry me?" Olivia gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. For a moment she was speechless, overwhelmed by the rush of emotions. Then, with happy tears streaming down her face, she nodded vigorously. Yes, of course I'll marry you." Ethan's face broke into a radiant smile as he slipped the ring onto her finger. He stood, pulling her into a passionate kiss as the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky. As they walked back towards town, hand in hand, Olivia couldn't stop admiring her ring. "It's beautiful," she murmured. "How did you choose it?" Ethan grinned sheepishly. "Actually, I had some help. Remember last week when Mia insisted on dragging you out for a girls' day? She was helping me pick it out." Olivia laughed, shaking her head in disbelief. "I can't believe she kept it a secret. She's usually terrible at surprises. She made me swear not to tell you she knew." Ethan chuckled. "Said she wanted to see your face when you told her yourself." As if on cue, Olivia's phone buzzed with a text from Mia. "So, did he ask? Don't leave me hanging." Laughing, Olivia showed Ethan the message before quickly typing back, "He did. And I said yes. Come to Sugar and Spice tomorrow morning. We have big news to share." The next day, Olivia and Ethan gathered their friends, family, and staff from both bakeries at Sugar and Spice. The small shop was packed, buzzing with excited chatter as everyone wondered what the big announcement could be. Olivia cleared her throat, suddenly feeling nervous. Ethan squeezed her hand reassuringly as she began to speak. "First of all, thank you all for coming. As you know, when Ethan first came to town, I saw him as competition. This elicited a few chuckles from the crowd. But over these past few months, he's become so much more than that. He's become my partner, my best friend, and as of last night, my fiancé." The room erupted in cheers and congratulations. Mia rushed forward to hug Olivia, squealing with delight as she admired the ring. Once the excitement died down, Ethan took over. "We have one more announcement to make. Olivia and I have decided to merge our businesses. We're going to be opening a new bakery together, Sweet Symphony." There was a moment of stunned silence before the room once again filled with excited chatter. Questions flew from all directions. Where would the new shop be? What would happen to the old locations? When would they open? Over the next few months, Willowbrook was abuzz with anticipation as Olivia and Ethan worked tirelessly to bring Sweet Symphony to life. They found a perfect location, a charming old building on Main Street with big windows and plenty of space for both baking and seating. The grand opening of Sweet Symphony was the event of the year in Willowbrook. The line stretched around the block as eager customers waited to taste the creations born from Olivia and Ethan's combined talents. Inside, the shop was a perfect blend of both their styles, warm and inviting like Sugar and Spice, with the sleek, modern touches that had made decadent delights stand out. Display cases full of Ethan's exquisite chocolates sat alongside shelves laden with Olivia's innovative cakes and pastries. As they cut the ribbon to officially open Sweet Symphony, Olivia and Ethan shared a look of pure joy and accomplishment. They had taken a risk, both personally and professionally, but standing there, surrounded by their loved ones and the community that had supported them, they knew it had been worth it. In the years that followed, Sweet Symphony became more than just a bakery. It became a Willowbrook institution. Olivia and Ethan's love story became local legend, often recounted to visitors who marveled at the unique and delicious creations that came out of their kitchen. They still competed, of course, it was in their nature. But now their competitions took the form of playful bets over who could create the most outrageous flavor combination, or who could make the most difficult bride smile with a perfect wedding cake design. And every year when the Willowbrook Bake-Off rolled around, Olivia and Ethan would enter as a team, their creations a testament to what could be achieved when rivalry turned to love, and competition became collaboration. As they stood behind the counter of Sweet Symphony on their 5th anniversary, watching the shop bustle with happy customers, Ethan pulled Olivia close and pressed a kiss to her temple. "You know," he said softly, "I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad you caught me that night, spying through my window." Olivia laughed, leaning into him. "And I'm glad you had the courage to invite me in. Who knew that a little competition could lead to all this?" Ethan grinned, gesturing around at their thriving business and the life they'd built together. "Well, my love, I'd say we both won the grand prize." And as they shared a sweet kiss, surrounded by the fruits of their labor and the warmth of their love, Olivia couldn't help but agree. In the game of life and love, they had indeed hit the jackpot, creating a symphony of flavors and a harmony of hearts.